Thank you so much for everyone that's subscribed so far. My goal, like for the literal year, was just to get to 100, and I think I'm currently at 172. So that goal now moves to 200, which obviously you think, well, you're not too far away, but again, these things take time. So I'll be happy if I end the year at that or even close. But yeah, so yeah, the title of this video, should we get a dog? Now, obviously, animals of any shape, size, type are a big commitment. If you've seen my shorts of our two kittens, Ghost, they're called Ghost and Bandit. Ghost is actually one next month, so he turns into an adult cat. He's definitely the shyer, sort of scaredy cat, as one would say. And then there's Bandit, who is, let me figure it out, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, 7 months old, which in itself seems really weird to say because I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but like I feel like we've had these two cats like forever in like a positive way. And when I think like we only got Bandit December last year, he was from the RSPCA, and then we got Ghost in the July last year, when he was 9 weeks old. And that was like a private sort of sale. And again, I can go into more of the details of how we acquired both these cats if you need, because definitely with Ghost anyway, I ignored a lot of red flags that you're told to sort of not ignore. But I'm also an animal lover, so I just couldn't, even if the worst happened or like there was something wrong with him, like at least I got him out of the environment he was in. Not that the person was awful or anything. To me, it just wasn't, yeah. It was a bit weird, some of the things that were said. But as I said, if you want me to go into that further in a different video, I will. But yeah, so if you don't know, I do have a dog. He just lives with my mom and dad. And the main reason for that is because when I moved out with my husband, who obviously at the time was just boyfriend, we were still in the office 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and my dog, who's called Benji, was used to having someone around all the time. So I just didn't feel that it was fair for him just to be stuck in a house on his own for like 8+ hours a day. That's just not fair. And also, my dad wouldn't let me take him, and not in a negative way. He'd never admit it, but he loves him a lot. And it's that whole situation where like I wanted a dog like my whole life. Like I love animals. Like I'm an animal lover. Dogs being like at the top. And obviously now looking back, of course, my parents were sensible and they were both out working all hours. Obviously, I was at school and stuff, so it would never have worked. But obviously, as a child, you don't understand that because you just want something and you see these animals and you think, oh, like, and family members might have them, and you just think, well, why can't we? So the long story short, I was going to move out when I think I was about 20. Well, yeah, I was 21, just with a friend, like paying X amount of rent kind of thing. I mean, I had a full-time job, but it was like minimum wage at the time. We're talking 2015, well, 2014, 2015, end of. And yeah, my dad was like, no, you can't afford to move out. Like, you shouldn't do that. And he wouldn't have stopped me, but he was right. So I used that as my leverage. And as again, I was 21. At this point in life, like people are in and out of the house. My mom's around a bit more, like that kind of thing. So I was like, okay, that right. I can appreciate where you're coming from, and I'm glad you're looking out for me. Can I have a dog then? Because if I'm like, I don't want to say like if I'm being made to stay at home, because I wasn't. Like as I say, he would if I'd have just been like, well, I'm going anyway. You've got to live and learn your own mistakes. So I thought, you know what, I'll just ask. He'll say no, and I'm obviously going to stay at home anyway because I'm not going to be stupid, um, and do something that I definitely can't really afford. So I sort of asked, and he just went, "Yeah, okay." And I was like, "What? What?" And I got him to repeat. I was like, did you say yes? I can get a dog. Like I can start looking for one." And bear in mind, I'm 21. Like I'm still naive. I didn't even think about looking into rescue and everything like that. Um, so, and I definitely could have. So, please but I've rescued a lot of animals since then, including guinea pigs and cats. So, um, yeah. And so obviously I went on, I think, I'm not going to say the website actually because I don't want to promote it, but I went onto a website where you can look at people that are privately sort of, I'm going to say rehoming, but it's not, obviously looking for homes for puppies. Because obviously, like, it was like, oh my God, I want a puppy. Like, it's going to be amazing. Having no concept of what it takes to look after a puppy and all that sort of stuff. Um, so I sort of looked and I found like these ones, and I was like, oh, medium size. I mean, I could have gone for like a big dog, but again, I don't know anything about dogs really, apart from just like, oh, you walk them, and they need feeding so many times a day, and all that. They're just good fun and whatever. Obviously, it turns out all positive, of course, but yeah, I'm kind of rambling now. The long story short, yes. Anyway, obviously, he's now 11 years old, Benji. He's a Chinese crested powder puff. I love him to bits. He's getting on in age. He's just this week had a few issues, and like I've been like really emotional about it because like he is one of my first babies. I did get a cat first, which I also cried about because I was like, Dad said we could get a cat. Like I wasn't involved in the conversation. And like that made me cry, which I know sounds so silly, but when you've not been allowed something, like I had hamsters growing up, like I had like 2 or 3 hamsters. Um and but that it's like I just feel it's different when you have something like a cat or a dog. Like it just feels different. Not that they're I love hamsters and I'd have a hamster again. Like I think they're lovely animals. They just have such a short lifespan. It's just like a little bit sad. And we always said like we bawled our eyes out when one of our hamsters died because my auntie basically like got him really used to being handled when we went on holiday. And like even my dad would hold him. Like I have so many funny pictures from back then of him. And we like bawled our eyes out. And it was always like, if we're like this, like a hamster, what would we do if it was like a dog? And yeah, so I've been in that emotional state this week. So I think I've always been pining for like to have a dog around. And, obviously I wouldn't take Benji away from my mom and dad because one, it gets like my parents out of the house to walk him. And they're obviously getting older now, and it's also just company for them. Like when one's, even though he just is old and does his own thing, um, you know, he's obviously been around my children as well. They're 19 months. But he's old in age now. He doesn't want to be around young screaming kids that are loud all the time. And that's why I, don't. I'll be having him for a holiday when they go on holiday in sort of June time. He'll be here for a couple of weeks just over, and I'm very excited about that. But I don't want to put him through being around my loud kids. Hence, wanting sort of our own dog that we can do. But I think having Benji for those few weeks will be a good like trial run of just how like routine works, and like, we work from home, so there's always someone at home, so the dog won't be alone, which also can be a negative because obviously like separation anxiety and all that stuff. But yeah, so I think, they have health issues. I really like the idea of a King Charles Cavalier Spaniel. I think I've said that right. There's so many words. They do have a lot of health issues, but they're also really supposedly, obviously, all dogs are different, and you can get the same breed that one's chill and one's like absolutely nuts. But they're like really good around children. Um, I would get another Chinese crested, whether it was the crested or the powder puff. So if you don't know, when it has powder puff on the end, that means they're like hairy, fluffy. The crested are sort of the hairless ones. They have like tufts of hair, so they might have hair on their ears and their head and their bum, but most of them is just skin. But I'd have to do a lot of research into that because I've not had like a dog in that sense in terms of like summer and the sun. Not that we get much of that in England. But yeah, so obviously I'd just love to rescue a dog, and that probably wouldn't be until my youngest was sort of in preschool or even 4 or 5, just because, and understandably, unless it's a puppy, they're a sort of age, child needs to be a certain age, and all dogs vary anyway with age because like they might be fine with teenagers, etc., but not young children. So that would be the first breed I'd like, and I just think they look so cute. But again, they have a lot of health issues, or can have a lot of health issues. It's all about ethical breeding, and all that sort of stuff. So the first port of call would be a rescue dog, but having looked, I think I need to look into it more. So if you have adopted a dog from abroad, like Romania, I know, I can't think of the other place that I've seen, places like that, please let me know your experience down below, because obviously I'd contact them and be like, oh, we like, it says they're good with children. I have a child this, X-month-old, and we have cats, so that we've got to take that into consideration as well. With an adoptive dog, they have to get on with cats. Ours go outdoors, but it doesn't matter. Like, you need a dog that won't be reactive to that. But yeah, if anyone has any experience with adopting a dog from abroad, please let me know your experience down below. If you do have children, or just what the experience was like. Because I think the only thing that worries me about that is, from what I understand, and I might be understanding it wrong, is that really you just effectively get the dog. Whereas I'd want to, even if I was doing a private rehoming of like an older dog, I'd still want to go see their home and take the kids and go for a walk in the park. Like, how is the dog around the kids? Are they jumpy or whatever? Or, obviously it's all these different things. But it would just worry me that even, obviously they've cat tested them, and I've seen videos where they do that. They have obviously a cat that's not bothered by dogs. And they have a tight sort of leash on said dog to see how they react. Like, are they bothered? Do they just ignore it? Do they sort of growl, or, have those natural reactions? So yeah, I'd be very much interested to hear any stories on that, whether you have kids or not, just because it's nice to know from first-hand experiences of the process. Obviously, I know you have to do a home check and all that sort of stuff, but it's more about how, because if the dog suddenly doesn't get on with you, it's hard, and I'd never want it to have to go to another home. But yeah, other than that, obviously the King Charles Spaniel, Cavalier. If it was go big, go home, it would be a golden retriever. But I have no experience with big breeds, and that slightly scares me. Not like the dogs scare me, but it's like, oh, they could obviously be very heavy. The house we're in at the moment isn't the biggest, so like a big dog wouldn't be the best. Same with like the car, it would have to be a case of we don't have a pram anymore, because the dog would take up the whole boot of that size. But yeah, otherwise I'd have the Cavalier, the Golden Retriever, or the Chinese Crested again, because Benji's just been a pleasure, even though they're all different. But yeah, then it's just convincing my husband, because in the past we have had a dog and it's just not worked out. And that's fine, like these things happen. The dog was safe and it went sort of back to its home. Hence why I do like a lot of research, like what breeds are best. I don't want a puppy. Not only are they a lot of work and you've got to get up doing the toilet training, like having young kids as well, obviously they don't really understand. My eldest would understand, and like they've both been around Benji, but I think, yeah, just because puppies go through the nibbling stage, it'd have to be like an older puppy, or sort of like a year plus, when they're considered an adult. But being used to being around kids and stuff and having their own space. But yeah, I think I just babbled on about not a lot really. The long and short of it is, I'd love to have a dog again, full time, but it's just about finding that right dog. So if you have any hints, tips, or tricks, please let me know. I do browse around like the RSPCA pages and Blue Cross and everything like that. It wouldn't be for right now anyway, but it's more once, like, I just see where we are sort of in the summer after we've had Benji for a couple of weeks. That's kind of like a trial in a way, because obviously he's like a self-sufficient dog, like he's toilet trained, all that sort of stuff. He doesn't need long walks. He's getting old, so he just chills. But yeah, well, if you got this far listening to my rambles, thank you very much. Let me know down below what animals you do have. That'd be very interesting. I'd love like a bird or something. That'd be crazy. But again, we have 2 cats, so that's not sensible. Similarly to hamster, again, that's not sensible, just in case it gets into the cage. Like, I could never forgive myself if the cat got in. So that's sort of like vetoed, really. So yeah, and I just think as well, again, before I sign off here, I think having a dog might just help me get out a bit more, or maybe not have so much anxiety. If I know, obviously we've got 2 kids, there's a lot to deal with anyway. But if it's like, oh, we're going for a walk and the dog's coming, and because I worry. I'm the kind of person who's like, how am I getting there? What's parking like? Is it going to be busy? How easy is it to get a space? How long is the drive? Like, I have 101 questions, and I just don't know if maybe putting something like a dog where it's like, well, we have to take it out. Obviously, you can do that around the block, but it's kind of like, oh, no, we want to go out to like the fields or forests and find new walks that we can do that the kids will enjoy as well, with like sticks they can pick up and all that fun stuff. But yeah, so yeah, this is nearly 16 minutes long, so I'm going to sign off now. And thanks for listening to my ramblings if you got this far, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.